President Biden announces an executive order on abortion access. I'm Natalie Brand with details of the order, plus reaction to the first real test of abortion in the hands of voters.
Plus, what's ahead for the Performing Arts Center in Carthage after the failure of a bond proposal, and the story of a child battling a tick-borne illness.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Carthage School District regroups after the failure of a bond proposal for a new performing arts center in yesterday's elections. This is KOAM News at 5. The current auditorium is more than 40 years old. Although a majority of voters supported the plan, it failed to get the 4/7 majority needed for passage. Still, the superintendent of schools believes a new performing arts center is beneficial, would be for the school and the community.
And it would have been a great opportunity to bring in new events to the Carthage community. Hopefully, we'll continue the process of getting this passed later on.
The next time the bond could be put on a ballot is April of 2023. President Biden today signed an executive order aimed at protecting abortion rights for the second time since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. That ruling triggered restrictions and near bans on the procedure in at least a dozen states. The president's executive action calls for possible Medicaid waivers to cover services for women who travel out of state for care, and it comes just 24 hours after Kansans voted to uphold state constitutional rights on abortions. Natalie Brand has more from Capitol Hill.
During the first meeting of the White House Task Force on Reproductive Health Care, President Biden touted a new executive order to support patients traveling out of state for care.
I commit to the American people that we're doing everything in our power to safeguard access to health care, including the right to choose that women had under Roe v. Wade.
The executive order directs the Secretary of Health and Human Services to consider action to advance access to reproductive health care services, including through Medicaid, improve research on maternal health outcomes, and ensure health providers comply with federal law, which could include technical assistance for doctors who may be confused in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade as they navigate new state restrictions. The president has again urged Congress to codify Roe v. Wade into federal law, pointing to Tuesday's vote in Kansas as an example of public sentiment towards abortion rights. Crowds at this Kansas election night party erupted into cheers after learning voters had rejected a measure to remove abortion rights from the state's constitution.
This is a clear indication of where voters in Kansas are on this issue.
The group Kansans for Constitutional Freedom claimed victory in the historically red state during the first real test of abortion rights on the ballot since Roe was overturned.
I wouldn't have voted that way if I were a Kansas voter. My guess is this won't be the last vote they take on it.
A similar measure to the one voted down in Kansas is on the ballot in Kentucky, while adding abortion protections to the state constitution are on the ballot in Vermont and California. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
This November, Montana voters will weigh in on a proposed state law that would require medical care for infants born alive after an attempted abortion, induced labor, or other methods, while there are also efforts underway in Michigan to protect abortion rights. Meanwhile, the U.S. Justice Department has filed a lawsuit challenging Idaho's near total ban on abortion. The state's Republican governor calls the case, quote, federal meddling. We do have some thunderstorms in part of the area. Doug Heddy.
We do. We need the rain as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So many of us are still in a very extreme drought across the region. Also the heat. We have heat advisories sticking around as we go through the next few hours. But look at the scattered thunderstorms in our northern counties. These are only going to increase as we go through the evening hours, which we definitely need from Lamar north toward Nevada, Stockton, over near Fort Scott. We actually have one severe thunderstorm warning, and this is producing winds gusting upwards of 60 miles per hour, and then also some penny-sized hail. So it's a low-grade severe storm, but it's going to kind of meander its way off toward the east as we go through about the next 20 to 30 minutes. But we are going to get some thunderstorms tonight. Some of us. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
See you then. Freeman Advantage Health Fair and Resource Fair returns for the first time since 2019. Had been an annual event before it was disrupted by the pandemic in 2020 and 2021. The Come and Go event at the Freeman Business Center featured health screenings, presentations, and interactive booths. Much of the event was aimed specifically at seniors.
We had a morning full of presentations on topics that are valuable to people 50 and over.
Visitors received stamps from the various vendors or by participating in activities which then qualified them for door prizes. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri are investigating after a vehicle flees the scene after rear-ending a motorcycle, injuring its rider. The crash happened shortly before 10 p.m. Monday along I-49 Gateway Drive. Authorities say 52-year-old Bradley Pippin was riding his motorcycle north near the Gateway exit when he was hit. Pippin was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Still ahead, challenges for the hospitality business.
As the country learns to live with the coronavirus, hotels nationwide are being impacted, from guest stays to staffing shortages. I'm Skyler Henry in Washington with a look at how the industry is bouncing back.
But first, one boy's struggle overcoming a life-threatening tick-borne illness. That's next in Healthwatch. Topping today's Healthwatch, there could soon be new relief for people suffering from chronic back pain. The treatment is not medicinal, but it focuses on how the patient thinks about the pain. Australian researchers targeted the nervous system and retrained how the brain and back communicate. Doctors found that patients who received the sensory treatment reported long-term relief from their chronic back pain. Women, even those who do not smoke, are at a higher risk for lung disease. That's according to a new study in the journal Radiology. Doctors recently discovered that women have smaller airways in the lungs, which can lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. Smoking can narrow the airways even more, increasing the risk of COPD. A Pennsylvania boy is recovering after a rare tick-borne disease left him with a severe life-threatening infection. The number of reported cases of Powassan virus disease have increased in recent years. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control. Stephanie Stahl has more.
Jamie Sinison says her 3-year-old son Johnny is improving. He's recovering from a severe infection caused by Powassan virus.
Right now, he's doing really well.
She spotted a tick a couple of weeks before Johnny got sick with headache and high fever. She took him to the doctor, but headed to the emergency room when he continued to deteriorate.
July 2nd is what we call our worst day. That's when we were transferred to Geisinger Pediatric Intensive Care.
Johnny was diagnosed with meningoencephalitis.
Meningitis means the covering of the brain gets inflamed, and encephalitis means the brain cells themselves can get inflamed. And this virus can cause both.
Dr. Swathi Gautam says with no proven treatments, care usually includes fluids, oxygen, and seizure medications. In Johnny's case, doctors decided to try IVIG therapy, an infusion of filtered antibodies from blood donors.
What intravenous immunoglobulin is, it is other people's immune system. Johnny responded very well. Whether it is due to IVIG, I cannot really say. More studies need to be done.
Where are you going?
Johnny went home after nearly 2 weeks in the hospital. He receives rehabilitation, speech, occupational, and physical therapy.
He has some clear left side weaknesses. His speech has regressed just a little, and cognitively, I would say he's not necessarily where he was before, but we're really confident that the progress that he has made will just continue.
And the family is raising awareness about tick-borne illnesses.
If we could just help one person get treatment sooner, or recognize the symptoms sooner, or prevent the tick in the first place, everything that we went through would be worth it. And he's going to be okay.
Stephanie Stahl, CBS News.
Preventing tick bites is the key. They say use insect repellents and check your body and clothing for ticks when you have been outside. A flare-up of gout could raise the risk of heart attack or stroke. New research in Great Britain shows that heart attack or stroke patients were twice as likely to experience a gout flare-up within 60 days before a cardiac event. Gout is a buildup of uric acid, which causes severe inflammation, joint pain, and swelling. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about your dog and acorns.
Also scattered thunderstorms for us tonight. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be another hot one for us today, but we are seeing some scattered thunderstorms in our northern counties, which is nice to see, and we are going to have those chances sticking around as we go through the evening hours. Pretty much clear skies around the Joplin metro. Here's indigo sky. You can see pretty much mostly sunny skies. Looks good, definitely hot, and we need the rain. Haven't had any today. Officially, none for the month for the year at 29 inches, but we keep falling a little bit farther behind as we haven't seen much rain over the past, month and a half. Heat advisories in effect over the next couple hours. We do have some scattered thunderstorms in our northern counties, even one severe thunderstorm warning across Bourbon County, but these will increase as we go through the evening hours into the overnight hours tonight. If you aren't seeing the rain, you're hot. Near 100, if not above, 104 in Parsons, 103 in Independence. Nowata is sitting at 101 degrees. Also, it's been kind of windy for us today. We've had these southerly winds at about 10 to 20 throughout the afternoon hours. In Joplin, 101. So this makes day number 18 this summer that we've hit triple-digit marks. Humidity at 33%. Through the evening hours, we drop back through the 90s into the 80s, eventually low to mid 70s later on tonight. But here's the good news. Scattered thunderstorms. Northern counties, these are going to kind of sink toward the south over the next few hours, and then we'll see more regenerating after midnight tonight. Now, Pittsburgh through the Joplin, Metro, Miami, Neosho, all dry at this point in time, but you can see a couple scattered storms just to the west of Stockton, and then right across Bourbon County, and then a few other showers trying to pop up once you get out across Wilson, Woodson counties, and then out through Greenwood and also Elk counties. But we can zoom into this one. Pretty good rain. Here's Fort Scott. This is sinking south and east pretty slowly, 15 to 20 miles per hour, and it's producing winds at about 60 and then some penny-sized hail. But we are getting these weak little waves which are kind of rotating around a big area of high pressure. All right, let's go through time. Hit and miss storms north of I-44 through the evening hours. After midnight, they'll start to pop up a little bit more. So here's midnight, and then let's go into the morning hours, so 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, especially on the Missouri side. Scattered thunderstorms. We need this rain as so many areas are so dry. Here's 5:30 in the morning. Scattered thunderstorms continue. And then most of these sink out of the region by the time we head into the mid-morning hours, and then we heat up again into the mid-90s for afternoon highs. So hopefully most of us will get rain tonight. 96 tomorrow, 98 Friday, near 100 once again as we head into the weekend. Some slight rain chances moving back in next Monday and Tuesday.
So really, tomorrow's our best chance of rain for quite a while.
I know. So we need it.
Yeah, we need it badly. Thanks, Doug. Joplin's Ronald McDonald House is getting this great big check from a longtime supporter. Fletcher Hyundai gave $10,000 at the grand opening of Fletcher's newly remodeled facility on East 32nd Street. Fletcher Auto Group has donated funds to Ronald McDonald House charities of the 4 states for a number of years. Coming up, new challenges facing hotel workers. First, though, we honor a local World War II veteran. Chinook, Kansas native Richard Keenan served in the U.S. Navy in 1944 and 1945. He was stationed aboard the USS Phoenix in the South Pacific, and we're proud to salute Richard Keenan, a 4-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the Department of Health and Human Services says the number of Americans without health insurance coverage fell to an all-time low of 8% this year. Before last year, the rate of uninsured Americans consistently remained in the double digits, had for decades. About 26 million people in the U.S. still do not have health insurance. Equifax says it's fixed a coding issue that prompted the credit rating agency to send incorrect credit reports for people applying for home and auto loans last spring. Equifax says its data shows that fewer than 300,000 consumers experienced a score shift of 25 points or more in either direction. It added that it does not necessarily mean a consumer's credit decision was negatively impacted. While the country continues to learn how to live with the coronavirus, the hospitality sector is still being impacted. Hotels are seeing guests come back, but they're trying to handle the boost in business during an ongoing worker shortage. Reporter Skylar Henry has more.
As travelers continue to hit the road for summer vacations, those working in hotels are adjusting to the rising demand.
It's a little bit interesting in that there's been a shift in the type of business.
Tushar Agrawal runs the JW Marriott a few blocks from the White House. During the worst days of the pandemic, guests filled only 5% of the rooms, forcing him to furlough and even lay off a chunk of his staff. Now that guests are filling the rooms again, they have different priorities.
I think what we're finding now is even your business travelers are blending their business travel with a bit of leisure travel. And so they're staying an extra night on either end.
But not every hotel is adjusting to the changing market. The U.S. Travel Association says the broader leisure and hospitality sector is still down 1.3 million jobs compared to before the pandemic.
Where is the biggest void?
It was equal across the board between housekeeping, which continues to be a challenge and always was, but even front desk in the summer and in the hot resort locations, pool staffing and outdoor roles can be hard to fill.
Experts fear the lack of staff could impact the quality of a guest's stay. So many hotels are boosting wages and benefits to attract more workers.
The reality is if we were back to pre-pandemic numbers, the experience tied to staying in those hotels will not be the same as it was for 2019 for anyone that was traveling, simply because hotels don't have the workers.
But Agrawal says he's building back his staff.
But we probably have over 20 jobs posted right now.
He's optimistic the industry as a whole will remain resilient and bounce back even stronger. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Our pet vet on call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, what the Kansas vote on abortion rights yesterday could mean for the rest of the country. Then on KOAM News at 6, the experiment in Carthage to see if scooters could be a form of public transportation. Plus, a possible new opportunity for Webb City's Zach Davidson now with the Minnesota Vikings, and a Southeast Kansas crash involving a train and semi-truck. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. You dog owners already know this. Some dogs will try to eat just about anything. Today's question for our pet vet on call comes from Summer. She writes, I've heard acorns are toxic to dogs. How do you keep the dogs from eating the acorns?
Can be toxic. They have tannins in it, and a simple GI obstruction can kill your dog. It is very, very serious condition. So the only two things that I can think of is number one, put a fence around your tree so your dog can't get to the acorns, and number two, cut the tree down. That would be easy. I personally never advocate for cutting trees down. I say put a fence around it.
Fence in that oak tree. Thanks for the question, Summer. We invite questions from anyone. If you have a question, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday right here on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. Look at this. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this young Australian cattle dog. It's a male. His name is Cowboy. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, a female domestic long-hair cat. Her name is Renee. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? Doug, we need some rain in the area. Parts of the 4-state's getting a little bit. We need some more.
Yeah, a little bit. We're going to have isolated thunderstorms this evening, mainly in our northern counties, but scattered thunderstorms. That means a little bit more numerous after midnight into the early morning hours. Still heating up, 96 tomorrow, 98 Friday, and then near 100 degrees again on Saturday. And we definitely need the rain tonight because we don't have many chances down the road.
It'll dry up quickly. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.